In this question, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at doing some basic calculation work, but we're going to be bringing in the topic of scientific notation. So, example given here. Now, scientific notation is a way of writing numbers so that we can write bigger numbers or smaller numbers in a more simple form and then be able to use them easier when it comes to calculations. Now, this number here, 3.6 times 10 to the negative 6, is a way of writing a really small number in a much better way that we can use it. 3.6 times 10 to the negative 6 is the equivalent of me writing 0.0000036 and using that. Now that number right there doesn't exactly look the nicest, so writing it like this gives us a little bit more confidence when it comes to our calculations. Now the question asks about the weight of a poppy seed. So the weight of a poppy seed is 8% the weight of a sesame seed. Calculate the weight of a poppy seed in kilograms, give your answer in scientific notation. Now a key thing here is this part here at the end, giving your answer in scientific notation. It has to be done in order to be able to get that final mark. However, depending on the numbers used in the question, we may actually be able to use them in terms of non-scientific notation and then convert it back. Now this one here, because it gives me this in real terms of numbers, I'm actually going to keep it in scientific notation. Good thing about this is when it comes to numbers like this in questions, and they're really no nice, they tend to be in a calculator paper anyway, so as long as we know the calculation we're doing, stick it in a calculator, job done. Now in this case, we want to figure out 8% of this amount here at the top. Now what we do is we turn 8% into a decimal first, so 8% can be written as 0.08, and then what we do is we multiply that by the weight of the sesame seed. So we do 0.08 times 3.6 times 10 to the negative 6. Now, one bit of advice I'm going to give you is know how to use scientific notation when it comes to your calculator. Most Casio calculators have this down near the bottom. So if you look down the bottom towards the equals and answer key, there will be a key that says times 10 to the power of x. That there is how we use scientific notation on a calculator. So you can type 3.6 and then push that button and then type the number negative 6, and that enters the number like this in the calculator. So to do this calculation, all we need to do is 0.08 times 3.6, then hit that scientific notation button to the negative 6. Then we just have to hit equals and we see what answer we get from the calculation. Now, key point to note is sometimes the calculators convert it from a scientific notation calculation and answer into a real number. If it does that, you have to make sure you convert it back before you write the final answer down. Now for this question, regardless of which way we do it, when we turn it back into scientific notation, we get 2.88 times 10 to the power of negative 7. And we have to make sure we include the units, kilograms. So there you go, 2.88 times 10 to the negative 7 kilograms. That is the weight of a poppy seed. We have to remember these key things when we're doing these sorts of calculations. So doing them in scientific notation, making sure that we put the answer at the end back into scientific notation, including the units, and making sure we communicate all that information accurately as part of our solution. If we do that, there's no reason that we can't get the answers for this. Now for this kind of question, it's worth 2 marks. This one you get 1 mark for knowing the calculation, and you then get the second mark for the final answer as long as it was in scientific notation and had the unit.